Bonjour à toutes et à tous, je suis Leslie Garrido-Diaz, la coordinatrice des programmes de la Société historique de la Saskatchewan. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes réunis à la Maison du Gouverneur, The Government House, à Regina, pour les Journées du patrimoine 2020. La personne assise d'en face de moi n'est autre que le lieutenant-gouverneur de la Saskatchewan, l'honorable Russel Mirasty. Bonjour, Votre Honneur. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you for having us in this historical building.
Bonjour and welcome to Government House. It's my pleasure to host you here today.
Thank you, Your Honor. Votre Honneur, la fonction de lieutenant-gouverneur est un rôle important. Your position of lieutenant governor is an important role. We have some kids who would like to ask you some questions. Let's hear them.
I look forward to it.
Quelle est la différence entre vous et le gouvernement provincial?
Unlike politicians, the lieutenant governors are appointed. They're selected by the Prime Minister of Canada, and then the formal appointment is made by the Governor General of Canada. And it really is something that you cannot prepare for. It's not something that I planned for. It's something that really comes out of the blue when I get the call from the Prime Minister asking me whether or not I want to take on the role. So it's a complete surprise.
Comment est-ce que cette opportunité de donner le lieutenant-gouverneur s'est-elle présentée?
Yes, like I was saying, it's not a position that you really aspire to or work towards. And so I'm assuming that based on my own personal history, my work history, that I came to the attention of people that thought that I might make a good lieutenant governor. And so after, I guess, being identified, then I get the call from the Prime Minister asking me if I would be willing to take the position on.
Ça fait quoi un lieutenant-gouverneur?
The job is very diverse. The most visible part of the job is what people see me doing. I say me, but my spouse and I, Donna, we are invited to many different kinds of events, honoring people, celebrating certain periods or certain events that people want to celebrate, and we're there to help them do that. And so a lot of our time is taken up doing that, traveling around the province, meeting people, meeting different organizations, and finding out what they do. And that makes the job probably the most satisfying because we're meeting people from every corner of the province. Another part of the job that's really important is the constitutional, what are called the constitutional responsibilities. And really that just means that I'm helping the provincial government do their job. I can't tell them what to do, and I can't tell them how to do their job, but there are certain aspects of the job that I have to become involved in that it's necessary for the lieutenant governor to be there. So it's very diverse. The other part that I really enjoy doing, it's not in person, but I sign a lot of letters or notes to people that are celebrating special events, special days, two in particular, anniversaries and birthdays. And I'm very surprised when I see the number of birthday cards or letters that I sign that are for people over 100 years old. We have a lot of people that are living long lives here in Saskatchewan. So that's also a very enjoyable part of the job.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de fun dans votre poste?
As I've already said, I think the most fun is really getting out to communities. We travel literally throughout the province, and often we drive to the event, and if we have to, then we fly like to northern communities. And so it is a lot of fun when you meet people from diverse backgrounds and who are willing to share who they are and what their communities are about. And just learning about that really is interesting for me. And the other part of that I guess when you talk about the word fun is just watching people when they're being recognized for something special that they've done. We went to a volunteer event last year here in Regina, just as an example, where they were recognizing seniors for their volunteer activities. And there were two of the nominees were over 100 years old and still volunteering for their communities. And the joy that we see in their faces and how they interact with people. Really gratifying to see.
Quelle est la différence entre vous et le gouvernement provincial?
The difference really is about me being appointed versus people in government are elected. So the Premier of the province, Mr. Moe, and all the members of the Legislative Assembly who represent different areas of the province are elected by people of that region. And they do the work to make sure that the government runs properly and the province of Saskatchewan gets all the services that it needs. I, as I said earlier, am appointed by the Governor General after being selected by the Prime Minister. I don't have any direct responsibilities as far as running the government of the province. And I don't have the ability to, as I said earlier, to tell government what to do and how to do it. But there are certain parts of government process that I have to become involved in. As an example, signing orders in council, which are decisions that government makes to make sure that it runs properly. And opening and closing of the sitting of the legislature. I get involved with that. What's called royal assent of laws that are passed by the government. And so those are the constitutional responsibilities I talked about earlier, just helping government do the work it needs to do.
Comment tu trouves la Maison du Gouverneur?
Government House is a special place. It really, because of its history. The area that we're sitting in now dates back 129 years, I believe. And that in of itself really lends to not only the beauty of this place, but just how it feels, because it is an original building of the time. And a lot of the building is as it was when it was built. There are parts of Government House that the public has access to, and we welcome people to come and visit and see what life was like and how people lived back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. And so it's really a beautiful place, and we're very fortunate. I'm fortunate to work here, but we as Saskatchewan people are very fortunate to still have this as representing the past here in the province. It really has that feel that lends to like that connection that we should have to our past. And so it's a great place to work.
Avez-vous un uniforme avec une cape?
The short answer is no, I don't have a cape. I'm very familiar with superheroes and the capes that they wear. My own childhood, but also my grandchildren, children that look at superheroes. And so, no, there are, I guess, certain things that I do have that represent my office. And one is what's called a morning suit. And that does have some tradition, British tradition. And it's a gray suit that I used when I was installed at Government House back in September. And what's unique about that, it's not a normal suit that you would see people wear every day. It has what's called tails, so the back portion of the jacket is longer. And so that type of suit has been worn by the Lieutenant Governor, the male Lieutenant Governors at least, since the beginning of the positions here. I did bring some of my own tradition into that ceremony, though, by wearing moccasins that were designed and made by an artist from my home community. So although there's a lot of tradition that has been with my position since its inception, there are things that we are able to bring in to reflect who we are as individuals. The other little thing, I say little thing because it's not a big object, is my badge of office. Get this as soon as I'm installed or sworn in, and I wear that to all functions. So that's it as far as my uniform, but no cape.
Qu'est-ce que ça fait d'être le premier lieutenant-gouverneur d'origine autochtone?
It is a real honor. being the first Indigenous person to hold this position here in Saskatchewan. And I will acknowledge, though, that across Canada there have been several others in different provinces, Indigenous Lieutenant Governors, but I am the first here in Saskatchewan, and certainly an honor. And I think part of it is that, as I talked about before, I'm able to bring part of my own tradition and culture and perspective into the role. It's important, I think, that we recognize diversity within the province and how that contributes to the overall strength of the province. And so I'm very proud to be the first Indigenous person to hold this position.
Que voulez-vous apporter à la province en tant que lieutenant-gouverneur?
Well, the Lieutenant Governors have an opportunity to support and bring attention to causes that they really believe in. And because of my past work, I've always believed that every individual within a community, within the province, can contribute in some way to make their community and the province as a whole a better place to live, work, to go to school. And so that's kind of where I'm focusing. And I'm hoping that I can inspire people to believe that they can contribute in some way. There's certainly a lot of opportunity for individuals, either within their home, within their community, within their school, and maybe even, provincial wide, where they can contribute in some way. We should never doubt, I guess, our own individual ability to contribute in a positive way to make sure that it is a better place to live and it becomes better, for the future generations that will come after us. So it's a pleasure to be able to have the opportunity to express that to people throughout the province, and I know that most people at least believe that they can contribute in some way, because we have to make sure that we provide opportunities as well. It's easy to say that, well, just go out and be involved, be engaged in your community, but some people aren't comfortable doing that. So we have to make sure that we make people welcome and we open doors for them to make sure that they find a place where they can contribute in some way.